Coming up on today's show, GM denies previous reports that it isn't supporting the Spark EV and says supply disruption was to blame for claims it's no longer stocking replacement batteries. The government of Saudi Arabia makes a massive order of Lucid Airs with a view to potentially doubling it in the future. And Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter causes Tesla stock to fall as he sells a lot of stock in order to help fund the Twitter purchase. These stories and more coming next. Welcome back to TEN, or Transport Evolved News. Thanks for tuning in. Myself and Michael were out of town earlier on this week, attending the official launch of deliveries for the Ford F-150 Lightning, and several of you said hello. It was great to meet you all. We're not covering the F-150 event in today's show, as we've already made a couple of videos on it, which you can watch via the links below. Before we get going, a quick reminder to make sure that you've hit the subscribe button, dinged the bell, and set your alert preferences for this channel. Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up today to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And if you are in the US, don't forget to put Fully Charge Live USA in your calendars. It's taking place in San Diego this September 10th and 11th, so head to fullycharge.live/US to find out more, and we all hope to see you there. We start today with a very important clarification, development and correction to a story from last week. As our final story in last episode, we covered a news report from EV Resource which claimed, via an anonymous GM district executive, that Chevrolet was no longer going to supply replacement battery packs for the Chevrolet Spark EV. A few days ago, GM went on the record to reiterate that while there are currently no more Spark EV batteries in inventory, it is committed to rectifying the situation and will continue to supply Spark EV owners with replacement battery packs if their cars require one. It appears that the ongoing global shortage in EV batteries, combined with GM's ongoing Bolt battery recall, are partly to blame. GM does not appear to know when it will have replacement battery packs in stock for the Spark EV, but it is good to see this story have a happy ending. We always work our hardest to double-check our sources, and for our part in failing to do proper due diligence on that story, we're sorry. We've seen a global downturn in the number of new vehicles being sold around the world as parts supply chains for the auto industry remain incredibly constrained. Yet new figures out for the first quarter of this year show that US electric vehicle sales in the first 3 months of the year soared to an all-time high of 208,411 vehicles. That is up significantly on the 160,000 or so sold in the fourth quarter of last year and puts the total new electric vehicle registrations since late 2010 at 2.642 million. California accounted for nearly 40% of all the EVs sold in Q1. And although California usually accounts for 10% of all new cars sold in the US annually, it does show that other states have a lot of catching up to do. A week after Toyota priced its BZ4X electric crossover, Subaru has revealed official pricing for the Solterra, a vehicle which shares the platform with the BZ4X. Starting with a base level price of $44,995 before incentives or delivery charges, the Solterra is, on paper at least, nearly $3,000 more than the Toyota BZ4X. However, if you look at the specs, you'll quickly note that the two base models aren't equal. While Toyota's entry-level model has a 150 kilowatt front-wheel drive only system, the entry-level Solterra has a 160 kilowatt all-wheel drive system, identical to the all-wheel drive variant offered by Toyota. Toyota charges a little less for its all-wheel drive entry-level model, all by about $900, but it's important to note that while Subaru's Solterra will be eligible for the $7,500 of federal tax credits, Toyota's federal tax credits are just starting to phase out. So the Subaru might be a more prudent choice. We often talk about how electric vehicles get cleaner as the grid gets cleaner, and having just come to the end of the first year of owning solar panels on the roof of my home, I can certainly attest to the benefits that come from green energy generation. And this week we learned via think tank Ember that last month, for the first time in history, the United States generated 18% of its total electricity from wind and solar, with 59 terawatt hours of green power going to the grid. This beats the previous record set in March last year, when 53 terawatt hours were sent to the grid. While 18% is still nowhere near the lion's share of the electricity used in the US, it shows promise. Sure, Europe is ahead, with many now producing 1/4 of their electricity from renewable sources, and every nation needs to reach 20% generation goals by 2025 in order to achieve net zero emissions targets. But it is a start in the US. Now we just have to double down and speed things up. There is no excuse. We've talked before about gasoline superusers, folks who use more gasoline than the average person. A few weeks back, we told you how the state of Washington plans to study superusers to figure out how to get them to convert to an electric vehicle. But this week, the California Assembly Transportation Committee passed a bill that directs the California Air Resources Board to base incentives for EV purchasers on how much gasoline or diesel current vehicle owners use, as well as their income level. The idea is pretty simple. Those who are on lower incomes often are those who could benefit the most from the savings of EV ownership, but they are also required to make long-distance commutes in older, beaten-up vehicles to get to and from work, thus using a lot of gasoline. While this needs to be passed by the California Assembly before becoming binding, it would go into effect in 2 years' time if successful. Bright Drop, General Motors' commercial delivery arm, may not get a whole lot of public attention, but it's been working hard for the past year or so to bring a series of commercial electric delivery vehicles to market, ranging from pedestrian-operated delivery vehicles to full-size delivery vans. Some of its vehicles are already in service, and this week, one of those vehicles, a Bright Drop Zevo 600, previously known as the EV600, drove from New York City to Washington, D.C. on a single charge while carrying out a delivery. While that kind of trip, a distance of nearly 260 miles or 418 kilometres, might not be a huge thing for most modern EVs, it is still a long schlep for any large commercial vehicle. Admittedly, the truck has a payload of 2,200 pounds, just under 1 metric tonne, but it's still impressive to see a delivery vehicle cover this much range without cargo on board. Although nobody has said how large that load actually was. EV startup Lucid Motors has long held a relationship with the nation of Saudi Arabia, thanks to the massive investment that the nation's public investment fund made in Lucid several years ago. It's been known for some time that Lucid was aiming to build a new production facility in the country, with the Saudi factory expected to produce significant numbers of Lucid Airs for shipping across the Middle East, Asia and Africa, among others. But this week, the government of Saudi Arabia took the relationship with Lucid one step further by signing an agreement to purchase a minimum of 50,000 electric vehicles from the company over the next 10 years as an attempt to diversify its fleet. As part of the agreement, an additional 50,000 vehicles may be purchased by the Saudi government, meaning that potentially 100,000 Lucid Airs could be on the government's fleet in a decade's time. While many are unhappy about the nation's civil rights record, including myself, it does certainly appear that Saudi Arabia is doing good things for Lucid. Legacy automakers looking to make their first stumbling steps into the EV marketplace have often taken an existing internal combustion engine vehicle platform and then tried to shoehorn an electric drivetrain inside. These vehicles, usually compliance vehicles, have a reputation for being significantly compromised, either in internal space, range or performance. And in recent years we've seen a move away from that, with automakers either developing brand new platforms for EVs or designing platforms capable of easily accommodating a range of different drivetrains. But now Mercedes-Benz has confirmed that the tables will soon be turned for its vehicles, with future platforms getting designed as EVs first and then having internal combustion engine drivetrains shoehorned in as required. Sure, I'd rather see ICE vehicles not be made, but I think it's kind of funny to see how times have changed. I wonder if those ICE vehicles will be as compromised as those early EVs were. General Motors has, quite rightly, come under a lot of criticism in recent years, both for the past actions of its executive team and more recently for its trying to deal with the Bolt EV recall, not to mention some of the claims made of its position in the EV world. But this week, we heard some promising news from the company, namely that it will now start tying the compensation packages of its executives to its performance in the EV space. Essentially, if the company doesn't meet its EV goals, then executives at the company won't be getting their nice big bonuses. And well, people do tend to work harder on achieving goals if they think there's a big payout attached to it. That's true of any industry. I mean, Elon Musk just earned himself a massive payout because he helped Tesla reach a series of goals set out a long time ago. So if it works for Tesla, let's hope it works for GM too, because more EVs equals more choice for us consumers. Elon Musk managed to cause Tesla's share price to go down this week, not by making a tweet about the company, but by selling off around 9.6 million shares worth a total of $8.4 billion. The reason? Musk's planned purchase of Twitter, the offer for which was officially accepted by Twitter earlier this week and would see Musk become the sole owner of the social media platform. Since Musk announced his plans to buy Twitter, Tesla has lost about 20% of its value, although the price is slowly ticking back up. While it's important to note that this story is only loosely connected to EVs, because we're talking about Twitter, Musk has promised to secure $25.5 billion of fully committed debt in order to buy Twitter. That's made up of $13 billion in loans secured against Twitter and $12.5 billion of loans secured against Tesla. For investors, that latter fact has left some feeling less happy about Tesla than they once did. Coming up next, shorts. But first, this is the bit where I remind you that TE is here because of the kind donations of people like you. Look, we are not a trendy YouTube channel owned and operated by beautiful, wealthy influencers. We're just a news channel devoted to making the world a cleaner, greener, safer and smarter place. But doing that takes money. We run pretty lean as a team, and frankly, that means we sometimes can't do the stuff we'd like to do, and we all overwork. So if we can help increase our support through Patreon, YouTube and Ko-fi, not to mention our swag store, it'd actually mean we'd be able to do more and also make better content too. Thanks. On to the shorts. Chinese automaker NIO has celebrated the construction of its 200,000th vehicle at its Hefei manufacturing centre. It took about 3 years to reach 100,000 vehicles and about a year to double that, so well done. Following in the tyre tracks of Bristol City Council in the UK, Nottingham City Council is giving businesses the chance to try one of 50 electric vans owned by the city for a whole month. While there's a small application fee involved, charging stations will be installed as part of the trial. Australian-based Viro has just used the proceeds of a $1 million Australian seed funding round to launch its virtual online showroom for EVs. Designed to help people dump the pump and go electric, it offers to trade in customers' cars for electric vehicles. Indian mobility company Ola says it's readying itself to launch an electric car with autonomous capabilities. The company demonstrated an autonomous electric golf cart at a recent event and says it will be using the technology in its vehicle. That includes LiDAR, cameras and GPS for a future highway-capable autonomous EV. Build Your Dreams, or BYD for short, has experienced an incredible jump in net income due to a massive rise in demand for EVs and batteries around the world. It says that its first quarter income rose 241%, mostly from increased EV sales and battery sales. German sports car firm Wiessmann has shown off its latest concept car, the all-electric Thunderball. With an 800-volt, 500-kilowatt drivetrain, you can raise your hand to pre-order one, but prices aren't available yet. More details to follow. The government of the Netherlands has announced that from 2025, all taxis and rental cars in major cities must be all electric. It comes as part of a plan to transition the entire country to zero-emission vehicles, with no ICE vehicles to be sold there after 2030. New Zealand's government has confirmed that Auckland will get its first all-electric ferries by 2024. Made possible by a 27 million Kiwi dollar funding pot, 2 ferries will be built for the service in Auckland. Each ferry will seat 200 people. Honda's latest all-electric crossover, the subcompact e-NS1, has gone on sale in China. Developed jointly with Chinese automaker Dongfeng, the e-NS1 offers a 150-kilowatt motor and 68.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack. It will start from approximately $26,700 equivalent. When Tesla acquired SolarCity, some investors sued Tesla, claiming it overpaid for the firm, bailing it out because it was owned by a relation of Elon Musk. But we learned this week a judge has ruled in favour of Tesla, saying it didn't pay too much for SolarCity. If you're considering buying a base-level Tesla Model Y, you should now know that, like much of the auto industry, there is a massive wait time to get one. Cars ordered today now won't arrive until 2023. You can get a Model Y sooner, but you'd need to add a lot of extras to your price. Volkswagen and BP have announced a new strategic partnership to roll out rapid EV charging stations across Europe. Many of the charging stations will operate with static battery packs tied to them, enabling them to be installed where high-power three-phase isn't easily accessible. Polestar has announced some tweaks to its Polestar 2 for this year. They include larger capacity batteries for the entry-level model, a more powerful drivetrain, and faster charging, as well as new colours and blockchain traceability for key components in each car. After saying heat pumps didn't work in its electric vehicles, General Motors has now confirmed that it will be bringing heat pump technology to all of its current and upcoming Ultium platform EVs. Heat pumps use less energy for a given thermal output, thus increasing EV range. Chrysler has long been the king of the minivan, being one of the few automakers still putting time into evolving the family hauler. And this week, Chrysler's boss said that the company is rethinking the minivan for the electric era. We think this means an e-minivan is on the way. What say you? We've covered portable EV charging solutions before, usually designed to give an emergency top-up. But this week, ZipCharge unveiled a new take on it, the Go Hub. It will house portable EV charging packs on wheels you can borrow to take to your car and charge wherever you happen to be parked. The Kia e-Niro may have just had its second-generation variant launched, but this week, Kia unveiled a new version called the Niro Plus, and it's based on the original Kia e-Niro design. Currently a Korean-only model, it's designed for taxi fleets and has more luggage space in the rear. Quantumscape, the solid-state battery specialist that Volkswagen is heavily invested in, posted its quarterlies this week. While it missed targets, stock was sent soaring after the firm promised its cells look to cut EV charging in half and will increase volumetric energy density by 50%. Formula E has officially revealed the third-generation race cars that will be used for the upcoming 2022 to 2023 race season. The most powerful race cars yet, they have all-wheel drive, a top speed in excess of 322 km per hour, which is 200 miles per hour. Stellantis has inked a $200 million deal with the nation of Serbia to make one of Serbia's existing Stellantis production facilities an all-electric factory. In addition to the funds put up by Stellantis, the government of Serbia will add $51 million of investment to the pot. Montreal's electric vehicle show will come to a close at the end of this week, but its organisers say that this year, the fifth year it's operated, has seen a doubling of attendees compared to previous years. It comes as more people want to go all electric. Australia's largest bus body builder, Volkswagen, has delivered one of two all-electric buses to Victoria's Department of Transport. The buses will be operated by franchisee operator Kinetic and will eventually be joined by 76 other all-electric buses by 2025. Elon Musk might soon be the sole owner of Twitter, but a federal judge has told Elon Musk this week that he cannot nullify the deal he made with the SEC over requiring him to essentially have his tweets vetted before posting if they contain material statements pertaining to Tesla. I don't expect this one to be the end of it. Coventry, UK is now home to the world's first vertiport, a launch space for vertical takeoff and landing electric aircraft. However, right now, while the facility is open to the public, there are no public flights that people can take at any time. Instead, it's home to the SA-1 concept e-VTOL craft. Vermont has been crowned the easiest state in the US to drive an electric vehicle by Forbes Advisor. It has 480 charging stations per million people, higher than in any other US state. Louisiana, Mississippi and Alabama are apparently at the other end of the scale, the worst states to own an EV in. Manager magazine in Germany claims that Volkswagen is looking to expand its EV presence in the US. It says the company is investigating a second factory in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where it will produce EV batteries, the ID Buzz for North America, and an all-electric pickup truck. A first edition Hummer EV pickup has sold on Doug DeMuro's Cars and Bids website for a cool $260,420. Yeah, I noticed the $420. Yes, I think it's an obscene price. And yes, some people have way too much money. 16 US states, the District of Columbia, and climate action groups are suing the US Postal Service in an attempt to force it to not follow through with a purchase that will see nearly 150,000 gas-guzzling mail trucks being purchased instead of EVs. Another lawsuit has been filed by a black worker at Tesla's Fremont production facility, alleging that supervisors used terms like "welcome to the plantation" and "welcome to the slave house" to black employees. Tesla has not responded to the lawsuit at this time. We have previously covered similar allegations against Tesla, and there's a link to that video below. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. Oregon electric vehicle company Arcimoto is like no other electric vehicle company. It has broken pretty much every single stereotype about EV startups, and its three-wheeler FUV is incredible fun, as is its Roadster. And yes, we have reviewed both. There are links below. But there's one Arcimoto variant that we've eagerly wanted to get our hands on, but haven't quite yet. The Cameo. It's an Arcimoto FUV that's had its rear roof section removed and its rear seat rotated 180 degrees to point backwards. Its purpose? To be a truly awesome camera vehicle for the company, and also filmmakers everywhere. We've been promised the original Cameo to review, fingers crossed, but this week Arcimoto CEO Mark Frohnmayer announced on Twitter that the company has begun making new Cameos. It's got a goal of selling or renting them to the film industry. It is such a clever idea, and I, for one, cannot wait to try them out. And finally, the US Postal Service, specifically the USPS under Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, has seemingly tried every trick in the book to claim that electric vehicles just aren't up to the job of US mail delivery. Sure, the post office has ordered a few electric trucks for inner city mail, but the majority of the new mail trucks being ordered are internal combustion engine ones. Because, I don't know, maybe DeJoy thinks EVs can't handle long distances or cold weather. Except that's not true, and it's just been proven in the most awesome way. See, Norway's postal service already uses a massive number of electric trucks to deliver its mail come summer or winter weather, but now its most northern territory, Svalbard, where the big seed bank is, has also gone all-electric for its delivery vehicles. Svalbard can get down to -40 or below in the winter, and the Postal Service says its electric trucks are handling that weather with aplomb. Now tell me, why can't the US Postal Service go electric again? And on that note, we are done for the day. But before I go, a huge thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a brand new clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to electricauto.org. Don't forget to hit subscribe and that bell for this channel and for our second channel, Transport Evolved Take 2. And if you're not already a channel member or Patreon supporter, please consider becoming one. Or you can send us a tip through Ko-fi or buy something from our cool swag store, like this t-shirt. And if you liked what you saw today, why not consider adding a super thanks to your comment? It is super easy to do, and it all helps our channel to grow. There is a possibility that we will have to skip next week's TEN Roundup show due to some family medical issues, but there will be more awesome content for you to enjoy throughout the week. So until we next see each other, enjoy your weekend, and as always, keep evolving!